Opportunity presents itself sometimes in unusual situations. What you think is the worst thing turns out to be a good thing.
Hello, champions! Welcome to another episode of Champion Reads, where we go over best-selling books by best-selling authors to talk about the principles for your best life. I am your host, William Blake, and I co-host this here as well, Mr. Ian Sturmer, as well as we have the founder of Champion Circle, Mr. John Kovacs Jr. And we are excited for today because we're doing something a little different. We have made this year, 2025, that it has a few Fifth Fridays, which is when our episodes come out. And we're just like, we could go into another 5 series with the book launch, which is what we've been doing this month. But instead, what we decided in a very creative way is to pick a book. Each of us got to pick a book in which it has impacted us and might not be a bestseller. And what we're going to do is each of us have our own book. We're going to go into the principles for about, 8-10 minutes each on each book and just have a great conversation with it. So this one is 3 different books. You're getting 3 for 1 today when you listen to this episode. So let's jump into it. We were talking in the back room, what's the best way to decide who the heck goes first in this? And obviously, we're going to jump right back to elementary school and hit up rock, paper, scissors. So I don't know about you, but there are many ways you can do rock, paper, scissors. Let's just do like the rock, paper, scissors, shoot. That seems kind of universal. Sound good? Okay, ready? Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Okay.
We all pick scissors.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Okay, here we go. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. All right, I'm out. It's up to you two now.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Ian goes first.
Ian gets it. Ian, what's your book?
Okay, my book is, and I'm traveling and don't have the paper copy, so hopefully you can see it here. 10 Natural Laws of Successful Time and Life Management by Hyrum W. Smith, the founder of Franklin Day Planners. And this is one of the first 2 or 3 personal development books I ever read. So probably that's why it sticks with me so much. Obviously, time and life management, Franklin Day Planners, those of you old enough to remember those, they're still around. But what I wanted to do was just kind of go through a couple of those actual laws that I thought were important to me. So I'm going to read, this is just reading off the chapter heading, and we'll kind of riff on this for a little bit. But if you're familiar with Franklin Day Planners, it's not just a calendar. It's about how you understand your core values and your principles behind them and using that to guide your life. So law number 3 is when your daily activities reflect your governing values, you experience inner peace. And I love that because inner peace really comes from, when you're doing the things that are important to you, you have that peace. When you're trying to focus on things that aren't part of your value, if making money is not that important to you and your calendar is set up with money-making activities, you're not going to be happy. If instead you want to be changing lives. So I love that. If I want to have inner peace, I need to be doing the things that are truly important to me. So we've heard that before. Your goals tell who you want to be. Your habits tell you who you really are. And if your habits aren't who you want to be, you're not experiencing inner peace. So I'm going to open up there. How do we change our daily activities to reflect our core values?
I'll jump in
What do you?
there, Ian,
Yeah.
and just wanted to say everyone loves their first, personal development book, and it's exciting that you shared this one with us. And never read it. In fact, that's a really interesting question you propose. I do think that your daily habits reflect your inner desires, and this goes back to Think and Grow Rich, right? And I know I'm always beating that drum, but it's all
Really?
about it's yeah, exactly. It's all about um living the life you want. And it's as easy for people to just start acting, not like faking, but acting like the person they want to be, and keeping up with that consistency. If you want to have millionaire habits, just start acting like you have millionaire habits. Don't act inappropriately in the wrong, but know those habits and then start doing them. Acting isn't pretending. Acting is action. That's what we're talking about, or at least what I'm saying. So I think that when it comes to doing the things you want to do, you want to project what you want to do. But if let's say you're actually acting, right? And you forget your line, okay? How you respond in that moment when you forget your line represents how you respond in life when you forget the habit, or when you step outside of that character you want to be. A while back, we read a book, and I'm trying to remember the name, but it had to do with a superhero background and
Alter
subconscious.
ego effect.
That was it, the alter ego effect. Thank you, Willie. And I'll wrap up my comment here by just saying, wow, like when you respond positively because that's the kind of person you want to be, you are now acting and inactivate, or you're activating the values that you want and you believe. But let's say you mess up or you forget your line per se in life, then how you respond is definitely an indicator of how willing you are to achieve this habit. And I just think it's kind of a cool principle to think about and also to look into. um, you've probably heard the phrase "fake it till you make it." I hate that phrase, but there is some truth to that. Rather than faking it, act it out, or act as if it's already in your possession. And that's one of the principles to personal development and living the values that you most want. That may not have been what Ian was looking for,
Yeah,
but that came to mind.
that's close enough.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the question, but the thing that came to my mind once you asked it was, I went to a really cool event yesterday with Tony Child, and one of the things he was talking about was about the conscious mind and the subconscious mind, where 3 to 7% of the things that we do are our conscious mind, and that to 93 to 97 are our subconscious mind, and that it's the things that we have been programmed, the things that are in our paradigm or our boxes that we've been doing our entire life, that 93 to 97% of the time that we've learned ourselves into it, which is crazy to think about because I feel like I'm pretty conscious. I feel like when I set my habits or put on the calendar things that are purposeful for me, I feel like I have a lot more control. And it was so interesting that when he went into this, it's like you do have the control. But just because you have the control doesn't mean that subconsciously for the last, for me, 28 years, you haven't been doing other things that have gotten in the way, that limited you. And so it's such an amazing thing that when I'm starting to remember the question, when it's about creating the purpose and start setting things on your calendar that are meaningful instead of just going for money, that you consciously do it. You consciously set those small little steps and habits to then start creating it. And I feel like it's kind of uh, not a double, it's like the opposite of a double-edged sword. When you do things that have purpose, you become more of yourself. And when you show yourself more, people are more willing to be around you, and they'll be more willing to give you money that way. So it's just like even though you don't necessarily want to do things just for money, when you live with your purpose, the money tends to come back anyways.
Love that. And I'm going to just wrap up my thing about this book on that. Again, 10 Natural Laws of Successful Time and Life Management by Hyrum W. Smith. And this one was, when your daily activities reflect your governing values, you experience inner peace. So when you understand your governing values, it takes time to think about what's really important. And we might say, I want to have money. Oh, sorry, I'm in a car here. I don't know how to turn this alarm off. There we go. Okay. That timer on the car shutting off. So we'll edit that out.
No, it won't.
Understand your
Rock
understand
Rock
your
cut.
core values, your governing principles. So you might think, I want to have a lot of money, but the reality is I want to have security for my family. And once you understand that, it's not money, it's the security for family. That's the real governing value. And then you start changing your behaviors to match that value, not just to get money, but it might still be to get money so you can help your family, so you can provide for them. And then the activities you're doing start to be in alignment, your beliefs and your activities. And yes, I've got to go fly to such and such a place for this meeting or this conference. But now it's not so I can get rich and feel powerful. It's because that's going to provide for my family. And that mental shift brings you that alignment, brings you that inner peace. And if we have inner peace, what does Kung Fu Panda teach us? We can eat more dumplings. No, inner peace, inner peace. That's the goal in life. We can accomplish more and be happier. So go pick up a copy of 10 Natural Laws of Successful Time and Life Management. Been out of print for a while, but you can still pick up used copies or you can get a copy on Kindle. So thank you.
You've heard it here first, folks. If you want inner peace, go eat some dumplings. You've heard it here.
It works for me.
Ian, can you say the title and the author one more time for us?
Yes. 10 Natural Laws for Successful Time and Life Management. That might be the longest title of any of the books we've done, and perhaps the most boring sounding, but 10 Natural Laws for Successful Time and Life Management. The author is Hyrum W. Smith.
Awesome. Okay. And for you champions who are listening, we'll drop that book in the description. So it'll be right there. And you can copy and paste it to find it on Amazon, Audible, or wherever else you find your stuff. Let's jump into the other two books that we have. John, we got to continue rock, paper, scissors. We just got it. So the rock, paper, scissors, same thing. Ready? Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Boom. I did a secret thing for those who know. You know that when you talk about doing rock, paper, scissors, subconsciously you wave scissors in the air, and people are actually psychologically more likely to do scissors on the first one. Helpful hint to winning rock, paper, scissors. My book that I chose for today is Your One Word by Evan Carmichael. This was one of the first, not one of the first books, but one of the first self-development mentors in my life. Back when I was first starting, Grant Cardone and Evan Carmichael, they were the first two people that I saw on YouTube, with Grant with his how to 5 steps to make $1 million, and then which led into Evan Carmichael, who I've been able to meet in person. Stellar dude. And Your One Word. What I love about this is that what it does, it takes your elevator pitch why and shrinks it down into a single word. And that word is something that influenced you back when you were little, back when you were a child, motivates you now, and 20, 40 years into the future, it's going to resonate. It's going to bring fire and passion into you. So I absolutely love this book. It goes through step-by-step way that Evan's been able to do it with many of the people he's worked with to be able to figure out their one word. Obviously, I got to share my one word as we open the discussion. My one word is light. And everyone who knows me knows that's my one word. And it's taken me 5 years to come up with an acronym for it that I love sharing with people, which is L is for love, I for inspire, G for gratitude, H for hope, and T is for time, because that's truly all that we have. And those 5 things resonate with me so much that if any choice that I have doesn't fit in one of those 5 realms, then it's not a choice I want to make. Because just like we talked about with purpose, that's my purpose to move forward. So I want to open the discussion of, starting off with the question, why have a why? What's the need to having more than just a what and a how?
I'm gonna try to answer this with one word. I'm just kidding. I can't do that. You guys know me too well. Wow, why have a why? Why have a purpose? Why have a drive? Why have ambition? Why have aspirations? Why care about anything? It's because we're innately human, and humanity was built with this DNA, these links that is tied to heart, tied to empathy, tied to values, as we were talking about earlier with Ian. And man, this turned on my philosophical brain. So thank you. But I'll just be brief and just say, for me, you know, if you don't have a why, if you don't have a drive, I had a really great coaching call recently with one of our Champion Circle members. And, just like life hands you lemons, everyone has hard times. And this was one of those scenarios. And literally, we were able to unpack life and culture and religion and just have a deep conversation about why you are the way you are, but to recognize from an outsider's perspective and to accept from within the importance of who you truly are and what you truly aren't. When people are going through hard times, some, like me, because of the empathic abilities, you take everything personal. And that means when a bad thing happens to you, you start to say things like, "Oh, I'm in trouble. I'm cursed. I've got bad luck," all these bad affirmations. And I hate even just like saying them out loud as examples, because I'm saying them. But more importantly, it's easier to flip that on its head and say, I am capable. I am highly talented. I am able to overcome major obstacles and challenges. I am not a result of the failure that I just experienced. And these are affirmations that are so powerful that they change your actual DNA. And it's such a powerful tool. So why have a why? Why have a purpose? It will change your life. Otherwise, go ahead, be a drifter, float, go down river, be part of the herd, go for it. You will find dissatisfaction in the long run. And the best question I was ever asked, and to this day I still fear its moment, which is, when you're on your deathbed and you think back on your life, will you be satisfied or will you have regrets? And that's a powerful, powerful tool to say, okay, whew, hopefully, fingers crossed, that's a long time away, because I've got a lot of unfinished business. I've got a lot of things I got to do. So find a desire, find aspirations, find a want, and you'll find truly what you care for.
Love that. I'm going to say, I think Gary Keller must have read my book first. Because that whole one thing and the idea of the core values fits right into there. Why have a why? Because your core values are what your happiness, your inner peace is built on. And if you don't know what those values are, you don't know what's truly important, what your real why is, you can't achieve it. My favorite literary quote is from Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. And I'll say I'm paraphrasing it because I probably won't quote it exactly right. But Alice is traveling down the road and she comes to a fork in the road and the Cheshire Cat appears. And Alice asks the cat, "Which road should I take?" And the cat says, "Well, where are you trying to go?" Alice answers, "I'm not quite sure." And the cat says, "Then it doesn't really matter which road you take, does it?" If you don't have a why, it doesn't matter where you're going to go. Doesn't matter what path you take. If you don't know what's important to you, you'll never achieve it. If you don't have a goal, you'll never achieve a goal you don't have, because even if you met it, you wouldn't know you met it. So, yeah, I love the idea of condensing that down. Again, one word is tough, but just the idea of taking the time to think about it, to introspect on it, say, what is my core value built on? What are the true beliefs that I hold? And then it's a lot easier to work towards it when you know what it is you really, really want. So.
It's crazy how awesome clarity is. Like when you aren't clear on something, things start to work out. The anxiety starts to melt away, gratitude starts flowing in. It's one of the most amazing things that you can have. I want to share a little precept from just the front flab of the book that Evan shares. He says, your one word will help anyone nail down a personal motto, the word that captures their purpose and passion. With this operating philosophy in hand, they'll then learn how to leverage this powerful tool to create the business and future of their dreams. Bada boom. That is powerful. And I actually went through an exercise. Yeah. I actually went through an exercise the other day with a client of mine to figure out his one word. And there are many different ways to be able to do it. But it's so interesting that when you just simply try to do it, it might not happen in a day. It might take a week or so to be able to figure it out. But the clarity you get when you start thinking about your why. And I'll end my portion with, for those out there who are trying to figure out more about their why, try this exercise. It's called 7 Levels Deep. I got it from Dean Graziosi and Tony Robbins, which is figure out something that you would consider successful. Pick a single thing that if you achieved it, you would say, I am a success now. And then 7 times, I want you to ask the question, why is that important? Why is it important? And keep going down and down. The first 4 or 5, it's going to be your head answers. It's going to be answers that you say all the time. But once you hit that 5th or that 6th one, you're going to start answering with your heart. It's going to take a little bit. You might get emotional, but then you'll start getting down to the real reason and into the depths of your soul with what your why is. And it's so impactful when you're able to get that why and get that clarity. So Your One Word by Evan Carmichael. Again, just like Ian's book, we'll drop it in the description so you guys can grab your copy wherever you listen or read about it. And we're excited to be able to now share with what John's 3rd book is. John, I think you need to do rock, paper, scissors with yourself. I'm not gonna lie.
was just thinking that. Ready? Okay, ready? Watch this. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. I held up rock, and yet I still gave rock. And guess what, guys? The moral of this story is when you challenge yourself, you always win. So I won. Hey, check that out. Okay.
Yeah.
You are a rock.
When life gives you rocks, let me take you down story memory lane. I flew to a conference in 2016 with the intention of networking and giving a little bit of a speech. This was in Atlanta, Georgia. Okay, all right. This should give you a little bit of an insider. And then I had the opportunity to connect with some people at a corporate office that run a pretty awesome company. And you might know it. You've probably eaten their chicken before. So I went to this office and I got to take a tour of the corporate facility. And they took me up to a gentleman's office that was vacant, but it was set up like a museum. And in the corner next to his desk was a rocking horse. And it was a rocking horse that we all got to go and ride and sit on. We weren't allowed to sit at his desk, but we got to sit on this rocking horse. And as I sat on the rocking horse, the assistant who was taking us through in her sweet Southern accent, she had been his assistant for like 15, 20 years before he had died. And she said, Truett, Cathy wanted everyone, including the billionaires, to come and to sit on this rocking horse and have a smile before every single meeting. And I've got photos of billionaires that you wouldn't even imagine on this rocking horse. And that led to a really, really interesting read. So that day I bought a book from the Chick-fil-A headquarters, and the book was called Wealth. Is It Worth It by Truett Cathy. Truett Cathy is the creator and founder of Chick-fil-A Incorporated. And the foreword was actually written by Ken Blanchard, who's currently owner of the Augmendino Foundation. And introduction was written by Dave Ramsey, who you all know is very well known in the financial space. But Wealth, Is It Worth It? Real quick, it's a great book. I'll wrap up this and I want to propose a question to the group. This book changed my life. I have highly recommend you pick it up. It goes through his story. For those of you who don't know, real quick, Chick-fil-A didn't start out as Chick-fil-A. It started off as like the walk-in door for, I forget the name right off the top of my head, but it was a tiny little burger shop that transitioned to chicken. And they did not have the best chicken, but they developed the best chicken recipe over time. But anyways, it is such a cool story, but it talks about wealth and how it becomes part of, like the power of wealth, the earn wealth honestly. And that's one of Truett's most important principles you learn in this book. Spend wealth wisely and save it reasonably. Hey, these are starting to sound like principles from what's that book we read? Oh, The Richest Man in Babylon. And then finally he says, share wealth generously. So it goes from power, honesty, make it reasonably, save it reasonably, and then share it reasonably. But let me ask the group this question. This book is a pretty simple read. You can finish it in one sitting. Wealth. Not is it worth it, but why? We've gotten into philosophical whys today, so I feel inspired to change my question to the group. Why is wealth worth it to you? Go.
I'll jump in. So I'm going to tie this a little bit to William's book with the one word that I think I mistyped when I was looking for the author earlier. So sorry about that. But without doing everything I should for the one word, the thing that came to my mind was options. I want to have options in my life. I choose things so that I have the ability to make different choices if something happens. So to me, wealth, it's not about making other people do what I want, but it's about me being able to do what I want, regardless of circumstances. And that wealth, obviously money we talk about. And, when I talk to people on the financial side of my business, money is not important, but money provides you options. Money provides you the ability to choose the hospital when you get sick. It provides the ability to choose your education or your children's education. It provides the ability to stay warm or to enjoy luxuries. Now, wealth of time is the same thing. It provides you the ability or the options to choose how you want to spend that time. Instead of being on a farm 14 hours a day or 16 hours a day working, if that's what you love, wonderful, do it. I'm grateful for you. If that's not what you love, then have time for something else. Now, I talked to my son about this a lot as he was looking at career options in schooling. And my analogy for him is, if you love playing the guitar, get a job that pays you enough money so you can spend time playing the guitar. Because he wasn't good enough to go join a rock band and make millions. That was not an option. He actually wasn't a guitar player, but I use that example anyways. If you love playing the guitar, find something that gives you the option to do it. Build that wealth of time and money you need so you can go enjoy what you want to enjoy and have that. So that's why wealth's important to me, because whether it's time, it's money, it's friends, it's family, it's beliefs, it's education, wealth, and all those things allows you to have options when hardship arrives.
And going with that, I'd say it reminds me of a conversation I had with Marianne Hickman, a great friend of mine. And she having a webinar for her group about this exact thing, about wealth. And she asked the question, what is wealth? And a lot of people put down money amounts. And she said, that's great and everything. And we each can have our own definition, but her definition is being able to have the liberty to do what she wants. And I'm paraphrasing that in the way she put it, but I know the word liberty was in there. And it was so impactful because wealth to me was a money amount. I'm like, I need to make 100K a month to be able to feel like I am wealthy. I need to be financially free. And all these different things came up, but it wasn't just money. It was the family. It was living with purpose. It was being able to do what I want. It's the traveling. It's the enjoying the relationships that you build with each other. And so wealth in its entirety just evolved for me. So it's like, how important is it to be wealthy? What, like, it's very important. Life can be full of wealth, and even the people who are billionaires, they might not be wealthy. The people who are on the streets and homeless, they might be wealthy. It just depends on the definition, and the definition is to each of us. And so it's very important to be wealthy. But I'd throw back in as a rhetorical question of, what's your definition of wealth? And then stick to that.
Guys, these have been super powerful responses. And I know I loaded the question with a duh, it's worth it. But I definitely know the reason why is because we all agree that even like what Willie was saying, like without wealth necessarily being dollars or currency, it could be a frequency. It could be something a little bit different. And that's why wealth is worth it. Having lived in the Philippines for a few years and been back multiple times, I can tell you that some of the people with the least amount of money are the happiest, but they have a wealthy heart, a wealthy soul, because they're full of the most important values, bringing this all full circle with all the books we've reviewed today. Their values were family, life, and happiness. And it's just a powerful, powerful principle. So the power of wealth can truly enhance our lives. When you earn wealth honestly, it's something that you don't just brag about, but it just fills your soul with something that you've done a good turn, and you've been able to really, really do something that was worth doing. That's a powerful principle. And then spend wealth wisely and save it reasonably. These are all principles that I think that, spend it wisely and save it reasonably has a lot to do with your ability to do with wealth what you want to do with it. And that goes back to your why and your desire. And then finally, share wealth generously. I'll tell you what, one of the very few reasons why I truly desire wealth is so that I can share it with others. And yes, that includes doctor's visits, because anything you spend goes back into the pot and helps other people through economics and all of those things. But I just want to just as I bring this to a close, I just want to say, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the easy, simple lessons. And I encourage you that when you go through a bookstore or an airport, a magazine store, or you walk into a gift shop, and you impulsively feel that draw to pick up something that might have an inspiring message, like a quote book or a poem or something, I encourage you to invest in that desire and grab that, because this was literally not the main part of that tour of Truett Cathy's office and Chick-fil-A headquarters, but this was something I needed a souvenir walking out. And truthfully, I just saw the cover and we were literally walking out the doors to head back to Atlanta when I thought, I need this. And I grabbed it. And when I opened it up and I purchased this, I thought, okay, simple, but so powerful. This book has given me a lot of insight. So I tip my hat to you, sir, in heaven, Mr. Truett Cathy, and us down here on earth. We appreciate you. And I just wanted to say thank you. The book is called Wealth, Is It Worth It? By Truett Cathy, creator of Chick-fil-A Industries. So Wealth, Is It Worth It? By Truett Cathy. Thank you.
I want to jump in a quick comment there.
Please.
Sorry, Willie. Wealth to me is having more than you need And John, if you didn't have a few dollars more than you needed to survive, you couldn't pick up that book.
Yeah.
If you didn't have a few minutes more than you need to survive, you wouldn't be able to read it. You didn't have a little bit more motivation than you need to survive, you would not have taken the time to read it. That was all I had.
Man, that deserves a truth bomb.
Oh, what? The truth bomb.
I can't believe we still have that. That's awesome.
It's just sitting there for us whenever we get those moments. Oh, I'm so glad we had this episode today to be able to talk about these 3 books that aren't really like they might be bestsellers, or they might just be they're just books that are out there that have influenced us. And I love, John, what you were talking about, that you grabbed your book from, it wasn't even the main attraction, wasn't even the main part, but because you did, it impacted your life. And so for you champions who are listening, when you're going out and you are doing stuff and like you look at a book and the title catches your eye, or the subtitle, or as you read the description, something just stands out to you, like, don't discard it because it's not a bestseller. Everybody is here to impact individuals, and that might be from a best-selling book, or it might just be someone wrote a book to impact your life, and it just had to get in book form into a Barnes and Noble bookstore for you to be able to look at the title and be like, that resonates with me. So whatever it is, like, if you have those moments, follow your gut, follow your intuition, grab that book and start reading it, because these books have impacted our lives in so many more ways than some of the best-selling books. So take those books. I'm glad we're able to share these 3. Again, they'll be in the description, the titles, the authors, so you guys can be able to grab it. And that wraps up another episode of Champion Reads. If you guys have found inspiration in this, go ahead and subscribe to our podcast. You can find us on all the major podcasting platforms: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Overcast, and all the rest of them. You can also find us at mychampionscircle.com, where there'll be a link to the podcast, link to our socials, and everything else going in the Champion Circle universe. Until next time, champions, continue to be awesome. Continue to be the champion of your lives. And always remember, it just takes one book to impact you. So whenever you find that book, let it impact you. We'll see you on the next episode of Champion Reads.